What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Friday night's late night agenda. Good news, the weekend has officially begun, and I'm here to hopefully give you guys a bit of, I would say, light relief, but that could go a number of ways. Look, lots to get through in tonight's stream. I want to thank everybody who joined myself and Adam earlier on Top of the League for our first ever joint stream on there. We, of course, were discussing the VAR situation from a rival fan's perspective, and look, just from a footballing fan's perspective. So we have loads to get through tonight. The preview for the Brentford game, that's already out. It felt really weird, by the way. Last night, Toulouse game, watch along, match reaction, all the normal stuff. Today, have to get straight into a preview because games are coming thick and fast now. We have a game against Brentford on Sunday. So that is up. Hope you guys get a chance to watch that. First super chat of the night, of course, it is from none other than a friend over in Ohio. It is Mr. Colin. How are we? Said, hello, Craig, sexy Holden. Oh, stop it. No, don't. Please, keep it going. How does the day find you, my friend? We won 3-0 today. A hat-trick for yours truly. Bengals tickets are waiting for you. Well, there's too much to get through in one little sentence there, Colin. Bengals tickets are waiting. I will take you up on that offer, my friend. I very much will. 3-0 and a hat-trick for you. Little flex in there. Nothing wrong with it. And the day has treated me well, mate. The day has treated me well. I'm good. So, Dave O'Cop has confirmed we're still in for Andre. Yes, I have some quotes from Dave's website from an interview we did that I'll be going through as well, buddy. So, yes, we will, of course, credit Dave OC Cop for that one as well. We're going to be talking about Jacques Talbot and his nonsense, his latest bit of nonsense, because, look, I don't know the dude, but he doesn't half talk a load of pony at times. So, we're going to be discussing that. We're going to be talking about what made or what helped Caicedo decide to join Chelsea instead of Liverpool, and lots of other bits and pieces. Do you think Camavinga is the man we need? By the way, love your content, said Mido. My friend, I would bite your hand off for Eduardo Camavinga. And do you know what? I got to be honest with you. I wasn't up on him. I wasn't hip to him when he was still playing in France. The moment that really made me change my view, or I guess wake up to how good Eduardo Camavinga was when France played Ireland. I watched them and I thought, oh, hello, this dude is legit. And then I started watching him more and more playing for Real Madrid, and he is he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I don't think we ever have the chance to see him at Liverpool because Madrid won't be stupid enough to sell him, but he is a very, very good footballer indeed. News on Gravenberch. Unfortunately, it's not good news. Ryan Gravenberch will be out until after the international break with a knee injury, and so will Curtis Jones. We have no Alexis McAllister for the game against Brentford because, of course, he's suspended, having accumulated 5 yellows. Virgil van Dijk, we hope, will be available for the game. Did you guys see Jurgen Klopp today was speaking about the fact that he may have to play or use Trent Alexander-Arnold in midfield more? I've got a solution for that, Jurgs. Get into the goddamn market in January and get us a holding midfielder, please, and thank you very much, Jurgen. Mark has gifted a membership to Anfield Agenda. Thank you, Mark. That membership has gone to Arian, a very worthy recipient. So yeah, look, we have a lot to get through. I'm going to just do a little bit of chit-chat for a few minutes while we wait for the chat to fill up, because it usually takes about 10 or 15 minutes for us to get to our peak. So let's what do we want to, some small talk. Give me some small talk, people. Anyone got a joke? And don't say Manchester United now. Don't be, go on then. Yeah, I'm in good form today, but you know what, I won't lie, I haven't gotten over last night yet. I haven't. A couple of things about it. The performance was god-awful. It was. You know, you sound bad in these because you don't want to take away from Toulouse. You want to give them their due respect and their credit. But it was a very, very shabby performance. We just weren't at it. We weren't snapping into challenges. Jurgen Klopp was saying today as well that it's unacceptable that you have situations where we have 3 or 4 players surrounding one of theirs and the press doesn't work and they get through it. Just not a lot to take positive wise from last night's performance at all. But don't even get me started on VAR again, lads. Look, it sounds bad because people like you deserved nothing from the game, and that's true. We deserved nothing from the game, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we were still shafted, and that referee just made up stuff on the spot. Like, there was a couple of occasions during the game I said to you guys, was that not a corner? And the ref's giving goal kicks and free kicks out. So Salah gets collided into by a defender and a goalkeeper as he tries to lob the ball over it. And this cabbage patch of a referee, this Omadon, this idiot, decides to give a free out. Like, I've watched back the VAR incident, it must be 10 times now. I've watched it with commentary, without commentary. I've watched other people's opinions of it. And ultimately, that referee awarded that goal twice. And then heard something, turned around, and I can't see because it wasn't in shot who told the referee to turn around. But it looked like he heard a shout from a Toulouse player or from somebody. He turned around, heard something, and then signalled this. Then he goes over and awards a handball. Even the comms teams were being told he was looking for a foul. And the scoreboard never changed inside the stadium. There was just a lot that went on there that just... No, I'm sorry. It can't just be brushed under the carpet again. Every feckin' week now, it's one thing or another. And you think, oh, we're in Europe, we'll get less of the Premier League stupidity. Nope. Nope, European referee absolutely shit the bed last night. Right, what do we got? Any more news on Leroy Sané? Look, I can promise you one thing, McNuggets. He won't be near Liverpool, and that's a good thing. You don't want Sané at Liverpool, mate. Trust me. I know it's a sexy name and all, but he's not the right fit for us, and he won't be coming to Liverpool, so we don't need to worry about him. The VAR, the PGMOL, now that's a joke, said Martin Halliwell. Martin, I cannot disagree with you, brother. It's a joke. I'd love to hear the audio in that situation. Yes, please, Nomad. Yes, please. Exactly. Like, I've never seen it before. Honestly, like, you think you're finished with firsts in football. All these things that have happened that you've never seen before. Last night was another one for me. I've never ever seen two things. One, I've never seen a referee award a goal twice and then suddenly run to VAR. And I've never seen a goal ruled out for an incident 8 phases before the goal. It's not even in the laws of the game. And do you know what really, really, really pissed me off? I watched TNT Sport last night and I had Joe Cole, I think it was a Carlton Cole that was there as well, I wasn't sure, and then there was a female presenter. And Joe Cole and the female presenter were making up shit. They were literally making up rules that don't exist to make their point about why they felt like the handball should have ruled out the goal. Joe Cole is a moron. Look, I don't care. He played for us. He's a moron. And he should not have a platform to spout lies and nonsense. Because that's all he was talking, was horseshit. Him and the female presenter, whose name escapes me, and I apologise for that, they were saying, well, they never really gained control of the football back, so another phase of play hasn't started. Wrong! Wrong, Joe! Wrong, female presenter. Wrong! That's not in the rules of the game. That's something you've plucked out your arse. That's something that you've just talked about to justify your own incorrect reading of the situation. The rules of the game, the laws of the game are very clear. If the referee or anybody wants to rule out a goal for a handball, it has to be in the act of scoring. That's the end of the conversation. No point do you get to have to regain possession of the ball thoroughly. It's just made up. Doesn't happen. Doesn't exist. Don't know where he pulled it from, but it's nonsense. And also, they had 2 chances to clear that ball. One of them with a header, and it's not our problem they don't clear it properly. So if we're going to look and have these people on powerful platforms like TV channels, can we, for the love of God, at least have them reading out the actual laws of the game? Because they're influencing an audience, young football fans, other football fans, and it's just not factual. You've got runners, you've got fact checkers, you've got the whole powerful weight of a TV company behind you, and nobody is getting in their ear to go, that's wrong. No, just spout your shite and we have to listen to it. Sorry, not having it. Joe Cole's wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. And the fact that nobody in that fucking studio had the balls to call him out on it just makes people, again, feel like, why are these idiots being given a platform? Joe Cole was a great little footballer. No denying it. Lovely little footballer. But does anybody think he's going to be on Mastermind next week? No, not at all. Joe Cole was talking shite last night. And it was making my blood boil. I was watching it going, this is nonsense. This isn't even true. And they're stating it like fact and nobody's challenging them. What did Joe Cole say? Well, he said firstly it was a handball and it should have been ruled out. Then he went on, him and the female presenter were speaking, and she came up with this theory in her head about, well, another phase of play hadn't happened yet because the other team hadn't regained control of the football. And then Joe goes, oh yeah, and backs that up. It's not true. It's simply made up in her head. It's madness. TV companies paying billions for TV rights and putting that in front of us. These are the expert opinions. These are the paid for pundits. If they don't know the laws of the game, don't have them commenting on it, please. Yeah, just making things up as they go along, as Spice Island said. That was it. That is all they were doing. Just making stuff up. And then people have the cheek to look down their nose at fan channels. I tell you what, there's a lot of fan channels I know, and the people running them and the people in front of the cameras seem to know a lot more about the ins and outs of football than the so-called professional paid pundits who are just making it up as they go along. Was she a goalkeeper? I think somebody mentioned to me that she was a former Liverpool keeper or something like that. I don't know. I don't know the lady, and I'm not going to comment on her outside of the opinion she gave on the phase of play, which was just absolutely nonsense. Don't forget Toulouse goalkeeper being allowed to clatter Liverpool players and then get a free kick for it. You guys joined me, a lot of you, for the watch along last night, and there was a couple of occasions in that watch along where I said to you guys, am I losing my mind? Or should that have been a corner? Twice that I can think of off the top of my head. And one of them was a free out. Mohamed Salah gets clattered into by a keeper and a defender. Now look, there was nothing wrong with it from either end. It was a fair coming together. Mo tried to lob the ball over the keeper. The keeper and the defender came out. There was a collision. It was nothing. It wasn't a free nor a penalty. It was a corner. And the ref gives a goal kick. I mean, how can we have trust and respect for officials when they're morons? And they're making it up. Do you remember when we had Mike Dean and Paul Merson on Gillette Soccer Saturday going back and forth, debating, and Mike Dean kept coming back to him saying, rules of the game, laws of the game, you don't know the rules of the game, you don't know the laws of the game. Seemingly, a UEFA appointed official doesn't know the VAR protocols, because he awarded the goal twice, then changed his mind and disallowed a goal for something he quite frankly is not allowed to disallow the goal for. How can we have respect? How? We didn't, but you didn't. The argument we get back, by the way, and I've seen it on social media and from screenshots I've been sent, is, hang on, you didn't deserve that from the game. Fair enough, but that doesn't mean it was right what they did. I agree, we deserved nothing from that game. Toulouse deserved to win. But that's the beauty of sport. It isn't always about what you deserve. It's about what factually happens. And Jarell Kwanzaa scored an equaliser, and it was a perfectly good goal. If you want to give a handball in that moment, fair enough. The ref was standing there, 5 yards away. Multiple appeals from Toulouse players. He didn't give the handball. That's where that stops then. You cannot go back to that. Come on, Craig, give me the good news. I have some news. I mean, where do you want me to start on the news? Look, I've had my rant now. That's over. Let's get to the more current stuff. Do you want me to start off with Mohamed Salah, or do you want me to speak about Andre? Up to you guys which one you'd like to see me discuss first, or like to see me bring up first. Jota was good when he came on. Yes, great goal from Diogo. Very, very well taken from him. Showed them what's up, didn't he? Got the ball, ran to the penalty area from right to left, and then slotted it in the corner. Andre, right, let's talk Andre then. So, a bit of a mixed reaction today on the Andre situation. I'll start off with the Jacques Talbot stuff, and then I'll move on to the Dave O.C. Cop website interview. So, Jacques Talbot believes Liverpool have moved on to other transfer targets following their interest in Andre. The Reds have been linked to signing the Brazilian international for an extended period, but the club informed his side that they will be looking at alternatives. Now, do I believe that there's a situation where Liverpool have said that to Fluminense? Perhaps, but with a reason. The reason being they don't want to get fleeced for the price. Because I've already started to see 40 million be mentioned now for a player that was 30 million a week ago. So yes, there's a bit of interest in Andre. Yes, obviously with the Copa Libertadores win and the eyes of the world on that game, a lot of people will be clamouring for his signature. But I don't for one second believe that Liverpool are done. I don't for one second. I believe they might be briefing they're done, but unfortunately this is stupidly just part of our negotiations, and that'll become a bit clearer in a moment. Thank you to Rachel, by the way, as well, for gifting 5 Anfield Agenda memberships. Very, very much appreciated. Oh look, Vazzy's trying to wind me up by saying nice hairstyle. Yes mate, it's aerodynamic so I can get in and out of your mother at warp speed. It is what she likes after all. Shouldn't have done it, dude. You shouldn't have had a pop at me. I can rip you to shreds. You know that. You probably like that. You're probably a bit of a sadomasochistic weirdo who wants me to say these things. But yeah, mate, I have shaved head. Brilliant. Are we done now? Can we move on to, you know, the important stuff like football, saving it from referees, or are we kind of carry on with the five-year-old nonsense? What a wasted membership that is, by the way. Somebody's been kind enough to gift you a membership, and you've thrown that back in their face with that level of shithousery. So, I hope it was worth it. Anyway, let's move on. Oh yeah, I said his mother. Oh yeah, I have one simple rule on here. Everybody gets treated with the same respect they show me. You come in and be respectful, you'll never have any issue with me. You come in and have a pop at me, and I go nuclear straight away. Everybody gets dragged in. Your mother, your sister, all of it. Don't care. You show me respect, I'll show it back to you. You act like a twat to me, I'll destroy you. It's that simple. I don't give a shit. That's the way I am. And I won't change. I don't care if I'm 42. Your mad jokes work. Right. So, Dave O.C. Cop. If you would like to see this interview or read this interview in its entirety, do check it out. Dave O.C. has been keeping people up to date with what's happening there with regards to Andre. So, he had an exclusive interview with a Brazilian reporter named Emmanuel Luis. And this is some of the transcript of what they said. So, he said, it's been reported that Liverpool are not planning a move for Fluminense midfielder Andre Trinidad in January. How true is it? And again, I want to urge you, you can find all of this at his website. I love to credit people for their work. That I know how hard they work to do it. So do check it out. It's daveoccop.com. Do check that out if you so wish. Right, and the answer from Emmanuel Luis was, not true at all. That's the way Liverpool negotiate. They're still in the race, but Fluminense is losing patience. Now, here's what I don't understand, right? So, if this gentleman, what he said is true, and I do believe this is part of the way Liverpool negotiate, by the way, but I don't understand how Fluminense are losing patience. They're the ones that didn't want to sell him. They're the ones that said, we don't want to lose this man until January. So, how is being respectful to what Fluminense wanted suddenly forcing Fluminense to lose their patience? That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But anyway, we'll move on. Dave goes on to say, the 22-year-old is hugely admired by Fulham and Arsenal. Any chance he could join one of these Premier League clubs? To which the response from Emmanuel Luis was, Fulham are the club that is willing to give Fluminense what they want right now. Manchester United and Arsenal want to hijack the deal. How many holding midfielders do United want, by the way? Amrabat, McTominay, Casemiro, Andre, by the looks of it. I could give a little hint here to United. You need strengthening in other areas. Don't worry about DMs at the minute. You need a striker first and foremost. But look, Fulham are willing to pay it because Fulham know they're going to have money coming in from João Palhinha and they're going to want an immediate replacement. Totally understandable. But they're still Fulham. Let's not lose track of that. If you say to a player like Andre, you want to go to Europe, you want to go move to the Premier League, give me a list of clubs you'll want to play for. With all due respect to Fulham, who are a very good club with a good manager, they ain't getting near the top of that list. You've got your United, your Liverpool, your Chelseas, your Cities or whoever. But fair enough, Fulham are willing to give them what they want, but I'm sure the player will have ambitions of maybe a slight step up from Fulham. So if Liverpool or Arsenal or United come and knocking, I think Fulham could be put in their place quite easily there. The interviewer goes on to say, where do you think Andre will end up at the end of the winter transfer window? The response from Emmanuel Luis was, Andre will play for one of the big six, which is what the player wants. Right now, it depends on the clubs. So if you're looking at one of the big six, and again, we're taking that at face value, Fulham ain't going to be in that conversation. Arsenal, Liverpool, United, Spurs, City, that's it pretty much. Yeah, that's it. That's your top six. So last question was, Liverpool are believed to be interested in Federico Redondo and Gabriel Moscardo. Are they possible replacements for Andre should a move to Anfield fall through? And the response from the journalist Emmanuel Luis was, too early to know. Liverpool is really quiet. So if we do want Andre, can we stop the dicking about? Like, can we stop the we want him, we don't want him, we're hot, we're cold. Get him. Just get him. We need him. It's very, very clear we need a DM. Look, I told you the other day I didn't buy this line that is being briefed to journalists from Liverpool that Liverpool don't want to block the pathway through for Stefan Bajcetic, hence we're not going in for number 6 in January. We all know that's a lie. We all know that is absolute poo-poo of the highest order. Because, quite honestly, we put in a £150 million bid for Caicedo. You don't do that if you're worried about blocking the pathway for your 19-year-old midfielder. Do I think he's good enough? Absolutely. More than good enough. But I don't buy that line from the club about wanting to block the pathway through. I think it's nonsense. On Caicedo, actually, he gave an interview where he spoke about a phone call that changed or helped him move to Chelsea. I'll read it out to you. He said he had a phone call, by the way, with Enzo Fernandez. So this is what he said about it. It was a nice chat. The fact a world champion was phoning you, one of the best midfielders in the world. He went on to say, he says it's a great club. There are many young players. There was a togetherness there. I've always enjoyed the bond in a team because I think that if there was a bond, we can deal with any situation we may face. Now I'm enjoying playing alongside him and training as well. In rondos, we're always together. So I'm very happy and I'm trying to do things better every day. As Enzo said, to be a good example for everybody at the club. So it does show you phone calls, briefing from other players, tapping up works. And he got a phone call from Enzo and he decided he wanted to go play alongside him. Understandable. Liverpool need to take note of this and we need to make sure when we do our tapping up, we make sure that we get it over the line. Why is getting Ugarte or Caicedo was a must? This is why getting Ugarte or Caicedo was a must. I was very confused that we weren't in that conversation for Manuel Ugarte. I think a lot of us Liverpool fans were confused. To see him just move and then to have a free run at him, it was very strange. There's been a few times over the years that I've looked at Liverpool's transfer business and just being confused. Like, that performance from Endo last night, it's not going to do any favours for anybody. It's not going to do any favours for us as fans thinking he's the solution. It's not going to do Klopp any favours, and it's not going to do Endo any favours because that was a low opposition. Like that was not a top European team. And he was outrun, and he was reckless, and he was all over the shop. In 45 minutes, he could have been sent off twice. It's not good enough. So we as fans, as much as Klopp will want us to, and as much as we as fans will want to, we can't buy into Endo. We can't for 1 second believe he's the solution because there hasn't been one single bit of evidence to say he is. It doesn't matter. If you're the most hardcore, loyal Liverpool fan on the planet, you know, you've got to use your eyes and you've got to understand, like, when you look at the player, you can't see what isn't there. And up to this point, there is no indication that Wataru Endo, as much as we all wanted it to be, is going to be the answer. So we're back to square one again, and we need to bring in a defensive midfielder. Endo's not the one, said B Banjo. Craig, Endo really, really annoyed me last night, said Arian. It was just... You can't scapegoat one player last night because everybody was terrible. We were all over the shop. But that was just a bad 45 minutes from Endo. Like, very, very bad. He's starstruck. He can't believe he's at Anfield, said Patro. Endo was 30. Yeah, look, we knew Endo wasn't going to be one for the next 6, 7, 8 years, but it seemed like Endo was a relatively cheap, experienced option that Jurgen Linders and Kravitz looked at and thought had the attributes to suit the role we needed for a short-term solution. But I think they misjudged. At this moment, I think that's all we can think, is they misjudged it, because, you know, I want to be respectful because he's a likeable dude, Endo. But we're not seeing it. And there's no amount of positivity is going to put a spin on it. He doesn't pass the eye test. So right now, and look, the manager can say what he wants. He's not playing him. He's not giving him games. And when he has given him a game, 45 minutes and he had to be dragged off. Why is Stefan taking so long? Hand on heart, Caleb. I don't know, mate. I really don't know. Because we were told it was a little niggle. And it, like a lot of Liverpool injuries, it seemingly just drags on and on and on. And we don't get updates. Like, there hasn't been many other than he's still not fit. So, unfortunately, mate, I don't have the answer. I wish we did, because, like, you know, I'm going to ask you guys in a poll, because I think it's the easiest way. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Right, so I'm just going to ask a simple question. Is Stefan good enough for the 6? Simple as that. You guys can have your say. I think I know the answer, because I think we all feel similarly about the young man. Where is Thiago? Has he retired? So the irony, Yiver, the irony is that Thiago Alcantara had an operation, I think on his hip, at the end of last season to make sure he's ready for the new season. The irony is that he had the operation early, he hasn't recovered fully, there has been setbacks, and here we are, and it will be halfway through a season before Thiago Alcantara is available for matchday selection. And it's the last year of his contract. So my own opinion is we just have to almost imagine he's not there, because he's of no use. We can't rely on him, and it's not through anyone's fault. Nobody wants to be injured. You know, Klopp doesn't want to not have him available. Thiago, of course, will want to play, but the reality of it is we just don't have him. Endo is a great backup, but definitely not a starter. I don't even know if he's a great backup at the moment, mate. Like, there's nothing I've seen of Endo that has made me think he's good enough. I've seen little glimpses where he's done okay. I've tried to be positive and, like everybody else, want to get behind him. But you can't just be pig-headed. You have to be honest and say what you see. And I think if we're all being honest, we haven't seen much to suggest that he's going to be there. We got to sell Thiago in the winter. I mean, I'd go as far as to let him leave for free. If a deal came up for Thiago that you know he liked the sound of, and you know he went to play somewhere where you know he feels he'd have a good show, I'd let him go. I'd just say, fair enough, mate. You're in the final 6 months of your deal. Sign him off and let him go do his thing. So let's have a look at the poll where I asked, is Endo good enough for the 6? So my own personal thoughts is 100%. Absolutely. From what I've seen of Stefan Bajcetic, I'm very, very much of the mindset of absolutely he is going to be good enough. But we need more. So the beauty of Stefan is he can be a 6 and he can be an 8. But we also need to bring in an out-and-out bona fide number 6. Because sometimes, away from home particularly, Klopp might fancy going with 2 number 6s. He might fancy setting up a little bit deeper. So having that option, I think, is a good idea. And Stefan, we got him for a song, and I mean minimum money from Celta Vigo. So let's invest in another, maybe slightly more advanced, like Andre, 22 years of age, and get that position sorted. And use the rest of that Fabinho money to bring in Andre. And then we've got Andre and Bajcetic. You've got Endo there as well for backups. You've got McAllister, who can, at a push, if we're really, really, really stuck, move into that role. Gravenberg could probably have a pop at it. But we need a specialist. We need a real number 6. I think Bajcetic is on the level of Lavia. Immense potential. I agree. I think Stefan is incredible. I think we've a wonderfully talented young man. I think that was such a clever move from the football club. And to be fair to young Stefan, he's been brilliant. He took his opportunities last season and grabbed it with both hands and showed no signs of being overawed by the occasions or, didn't look like a fish out of water. He looked like he belonged there. He looks like a very mature, level-headed, very, very good technical footballer. And, brilliant to have him at the club. Craig, hopefully FSG go in January straight away and bring in Andre, but they'll probably do the usual and screw around. And there's no need for that, Arian, mate. There's absolutely no need to mess about. What you want when you're looking for players is the selling club willing, and they are clearly willing to sell now. You've done the research, you tried from in the summer, you respected Fluminense's stance. Now is time to have that deal done. We should have Andre signing on the first day of the window. Like, Liverpool should have got that deal done and lodged that paperwork the day the window opens. It should be that simple. There's no need to drag it on through January. Just get it done. When is Robbo back? So 10 to 12 weeks was the prognosis after Robbo had the shoulder surgery. So, I mean, at the end of the festive period of football would be a soft guess. But like anything else, you have to make sure there's no secondary injury. So when Robbo starts coming back into training, you have to make sure that nothing else happens or there's no setback. So you always have to caveat every date you give with that. But hopefully at the turn of the year. What's happening with Andre? David Lynch reported we aren't planning to get him. It's shambolic. There's lots of conflicting reports at the moment. As we mentioned earlier on in the stream, you've got Jacques Talbot saying Liverpool are walking away and United and Fulham are pushing ahead Arsenal. You've got David Lynch and I want to say Ian Doyle, if I'm not mistaken, saying that as far as they're aware, Liverpool aren't going to be looking to bring in not just Andre, but I think one of them went as far as to say Annie, number 6, in the January window. So I believe they're being briefed this by the club. Both those gents aren't going to just make this up. So I fully believe Liverpool are briefing this, but I don't know why they're bothering. Because if they don't know, if, Jurgen, Kravitz, Linders, Fallows, Hunter, and whoever else is involved in transfers, if they don't know that we've a gaping need, I don't know who they're trying to kid. Because none of us believe that we don't need a 6. You can stop any fan on the street and ask them, and they'll tell you. You can even ask opposition fans, and they'll tell you what we need. So, I don't know who Liverpool are trying to convince. They can't use the money thing anymore. They can't use that now. FSG cannot say there's no money because they've shown us already that they were willing to spend £115 million on Caicedo. So we know that there's an option to use the money. We know that Liverpool can afford to buy one. Now it comes down to ambition, really. And that's what I think this is. We need to show that we have the ambition to want to win stuff this season. I'm fed up of letting seasons just ghost by us. And the time for Klopp of the club running down. Like last season was a complete write-off. The whole season, complete write-off. because of the stupidity of not buying midfielders. And I understood, and I think most of you guys in the chat understood, if Andre was the one and they had to wait till January, Klopp has shown in the past he's willing to wait for the right player. Did it with Van Dijk, did it with Alisson, did it with others. He will wait until the guy he wants is available. Well, it's time to put up now because he's available. So we hope. There's no logical reason for us not to do it. There's none. Andre isn't good enough. Yeah, but he is though, mate. So, you know, he's not good enough, but Fulham, United, Arsenal, Napoli, and a lot of other top European clubs are looking at him. But Mom Spaghetti on YouTube said he's not good enough. So that's it, lads. We'll jack that in. Do you know what I mean? Never mind the scouting reports. Never mind the fact you've sent lads over to watch him. Never mind the fact we've all seen with our own two eyes that he ran the show in the Copa Libertadores final. Weird. I mean, I would respectfully disagree with you on that one. I think he's more than good enough. So, yeah. That's my response to that. Am I worried about dropping these silly draws this season? Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Look, drawing away to Luton Town's a bleeding disgrace. It's a disgrace. Liverpool Football Club shouldn't be going over and drawing with Luton Town at Kenilworth Road. We should be battering them by 3 or 4. I don't really mind last night's result in the big picture because we should still top that Europa League group and it won't really do much damage to the season all told. But there are still worrying signs from that game. You know, why were we not at it? Why was the press not there? Why were we so disjointed? Why was there a lack of fight? Like, there was a lot of questions that we, don't have answers to. What's going on with Szoboszlai? He seems to have hit a brick wall or something at the minute. He doesn't look like to have the energy levels he had previously. So yeah, there's questions that we need to answer, alright, but I'm more annoyed about the Luton draw than I am about last night. Because, as I said, that last night shouldn't really... We beat Las Glintz at home. And depending on how results go, okay, we might need to draw away against Union Saint-Gilloise in the last game. But ultimately, we should top that group still. Are the boys suffering a bit from fatigue? It would be worrying if they were. Because, again, look at the profile of these guys from age. They're still relatively young guys, most of them in that midfield now. And we've already gone through a figure from James Pearce that said Jurgen Klopp has rotated his team and made 100. I think it was 100 and... One sec, I have the number here actually. Bear with me. I'm going to get this number for you because it is important. I think it was 100 and something changes James Pearce wrote. Where was this one that Connor sent me? Sorry, I don't have 160, something like that. We've made more changes than any other club anyway. So we've done the rotating part. So I don't know what more we can do on that front. So yeah, I'll be a bit concerned if they were fatigued already. Yilber, thank you for your super chat. Said, congrats bro, I was a member for years at the beginning. I left because of my views on FSG and abuse I got. But well done, my friend. Abuse? So I don't like hearing that anybody feels like they were abused, buddy. So I do apologise. I don't know if you're... if I was the one who was going in on you on FSG. And look, I'm not saying it wasn't me. It could have very well happened because I am very staunch in my disregard of them because of the Super League. But I'm sorry you felt that way. More than anything, I'm sorry you felt that way. I'm glad to see you're back in our chat. And I apologise that you felt that way. Liverpool should sign Andre in the last week of December, have him in January, you never know. So we will be playing at the Club World Cup over in Saudi with Fluminense, obviously, as the defending champions of the Copa Libertadores. So, yeah, he probably need a break in anyway after that, because he's had a full season with Fluminense. Their season finishes on the 7th of December, I think, over in Brazil. Then they have the Club World Cup. And if you know anything about the South American sides, is that they take the Club World Cup very seriously. Very, very seriously. So they're going to want to try go win that. You know, they have a fight in their hands, obviously, with Manchester City in the tournament. But that's going to be their aim. So after that, he'll probably need a break for 3-4 weeks, maybe, you know, because he's had his full season. So, yeah, look, we should get the paperwork done early doors and get it done. But I think it'll be mid-January before we probably have him available. What else have we got? But Craig, Andre's 1.76 metres. He's way too small, respectfully. Well, look, I guess, Mom Spaghetti, there are many small DMs who've succeeded. Look at N'Golo Kante, Javier Mascherano, Makelele. You don't always have to be a huge physical specimen to play in the number 6 role. If you're clever, if your positioning is right, and if you can read the game well, you can make up for some of those less physically imposing attributes. I can't really defend from a perspective of aerial duels, because that is one area of Andre's game that, regardless of his size, his success rate there isn't great. But other than that, I think he has the attributes. I do. Like, again, look at Javier Mascherano. I still regard him as our best ever defensive midfielder. I know people will mention Xavi Alonso, but Mascherano he was like a pit bull kind of player. And if you've got that fire in your belly, I think you're all right. And Andre seems to have that. So I think, yeah, look, ideally we'd all want a Rodri, you know, a big physical specimen who can put himself about, can play football, can read the game well. But sometimes, you know, good things come in small packages. Just ask my wife over, Chances of signing both Andre and Mbappe in January. So on the Mbappe thing, I'm glad you've led me into that. It's the Urban, thank you. We're going to, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a take now on where we're at with the Mohamed Salah situation, because David Ornstein has been speaking a little bit about Mohamed Salah's future. And when David Ornstein of The Athletic speaks, of course we listen, because he's a top tier journalist. He said on Mohamed Salah's future, and you can find this on the Anfield Agenda Twitter account as well, I don't think it's set in stone that he goes. I've even had some suggestions he would quite like to stay and continue to compete at the highest level in Europe. So, if that's the case, get that contract in front of him, please. Because, as we've always said, the priority number 1 is to give Mo a new deal. If that's not an option, if the money from Saudi's too big, or if he wants to go over there for whatever other reason, okay, there's not much you can do about that. But if David Ornstein is saying that he still feels, or he's of the belief that Mo still feels that he still has some unfinished business and wants to continue to compete in Europe at the highest level, then we need to get a contract in front of the great man and get him to sign it. Because, you know, he's got at least 3 years left, I would say, at the top level. You look at him as a physical specimen. He's never lets himself go. He's never out of shape. He lives the life of a professional athlete. I'd be more than happy for Liverpool to extend him by a couple of years. So, I'm worried that we haven't seen any talk of that, though. Like, I've mentioned this to you guys on air a few times. That has been a concern, because we should be. You know, I don't know. Maybe my hope is always that behind the scenes there's conversations that we don't know about. And we all love to wake up one day and see that Mo signed the contract extension. But if he doesn't, and if he does move on, is Mbappe an option? Yes, he is. He shouldn't be, and at almost every other point in his career he won't be. But sometimes things are about timing. And if Liverpool and Mo don't come to an agreement, and if they don't find common ground and Mo doesn't extend, then the sensible thing for Liverpool to do is to sell in the summer. You can't let Mo leave for free. It would be the height of stupidity. So if you sell him in the summer and you get 80 or 100 million quid and you've saved the money on his wages, and we've heard from Rami Abbasisa that he gets £1 million a week all in from whatever parts of his contract we don't know about. then put that money to Mbappe because he's on a free. You won't have to pay a transfer fee. He's in the prime of his career right now. Liverpool have spoken with him for 6 years. John W. Henry has flown him around on a jet. You know, it sounds ludicrous. I know. I'm aware of it. But if Real Madrid aren't at the table, and according to their own sources, they're not. So if that is true, and I still have my doubts over that being true, but if that is true, and Madrid are walking away, where's he going to go? He's got to go somewhere. PSG aren't going in the right direction. He's not going to win a Champions League there. He's not going to win a Ballon d'Or there by the looks of it. He's too young and too much ahead of him in his career to go off to Saudi. Italian football don't really have the money, or again, he won't win a Ballon d'Or there. So it's pretty much Premier League. And then it's a matter of a handful of clubs. So my preference is to keep Mo. That's always the preference. But if Mo goes, and there's a way to get Mbappe through the door at Anfield, and if Jurgen Klopp feels like he wouldn't be a destabilising factor, because we can't ignore that side of it, oh, come on now. You know, who wouldn't want to see Kylian Mbappe running out in a Liverpool shirt? I think Nike would be very happy with that as well, you know, and I think it would be a ridiculous amount of shirt sales. And also, if you do lose Mo, then, you know, you're losing your big shirt seller, you're losing your icon, you're losing your superstar. Replace him with another one that you haven't had to pay a transfer fee for? I mean, come on now. Surely we'd want that. What is a shirk? Do you mean shirk responsibility? Is to like move away from, to negate, to what would be another word I could use? Negate is probably the best word. I can't think of a better word than that. Didinho said, I remember a time when Liverpool always had a bogey month. It was October for many years. Then it moved to November. Is this phenomenon back? Well, it's been a rocky month. Definitely. But we also didn't have a great month before the October international break. We lost the Spurs. We drew with Brighton. So we dropped 5 points before that international break. I hope history doesn't repeat itself before this one, because we got the draw at Luton. That's 2 dropped. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch my preview yet for the Brentford game, but slim pickings in midfield. We've got no Alexis McAllister because he's serving a suspension for 5 yellow cards. We've got no Ryan Gravenberch and no Curtis Jones, who were out with injuries till after the international break. So what do? Endo, probably going to have to play him. And on top of that, you're struggling. You know, there isn't really a huge selection. Gravenberch isn't there, so Szoboszlai and Elliott. Let's be real, Mbappe running out in that first game of the season would be the stuff of dreams. I doubt we'd pay the wages. But again, if we take for granted and believe that Mo makes £1 million a week, because his own representative said it wasn't a fan channel or, you know, a newspaper that said it. Rami Abbas Issa said it himself when he was giving a commencement speech or something in Harvard, that Mo makes £1 million a week. So if Mo's making £1 million a week at Liverpool, and we can all accept that to be a factual situation, if you bring in 100 million for him and a transfer fee as well, you can put that money towards amortising Kylian Mbappe's contract over 5 years. And then you're able to pay Kylian Mbappe 1.5, 1.6 million quid a week. So it is possible. Only because of 2 things. It's possible because we already have a really high earner who could move on, also bring us in a transfer fee, and because Kylian Mbappe would be on a free transfer. I know there's no such thing as a free transfer. He'd have a signing on bonus and all this other stuff. But it's possible. That's what I'm saying. It's possible. Only now. I don't think there will be another point previously or another point afterwards where this becomes possible for us. But because of that lack of a transfer fee, it is possible. We've been lucky, Craig Gatland said, so far this season, the other top teams are dropping points as well. Yeah, but we haven't really capitalised on it enough, have we? So we had a weekend just gone where Arsenal dropped points, where Spurs were beaten, and we drew at Luton. A game that, let's be honest, we would have looked at, all of us, and thought, handy 3 points. And you're right to think that, because it should have been a handy 3 points. But we shit the bed and didn't fully capitalise on those points dropped. So, we have had nearly 700 votes on the Is Stefan Good Enough for the number 6 poll. I'll end it there. 68% of you guys say yes, he is good enough. 32% say no, he isn't good enough. Colin said Maddison and Van de Ven out until the new year as well. Yes, that is correct. If you guys haven't seen that, the injury update from James Maddison and Mickey Van de Ven is that they will both be unavailable for Ange Postecoglou until the new year. So again, that's a big loss for Spurs. Ange Postecoglou also won the October Manager of the Month. I think that's his third one in a row, so congratulations to him on that one. Will there be any difference between Andre and Stefan Bajcetic be like in a year later? Personally, I don't think so. What do you have in your mind on this one? So will there be any difference between Andre and Stefan? I'm going to try answer the question for you, mate. So Andre is a little bit further along, in his development. He's played at a bit of a higher level so far. Obviously been capped by Brazil as well. Still 22 years of age. But both of these gentlemen, Stefan Bajcetic and Andre, are both versatile in that they can be a little bit more advanced if needs be. Stefan, as we've seen, can play in any of the midfield positions. And it'll never do any harm having two young, outstanding defensive midfielders. Look at Chelsea. They've got Caicedo and Enzo at the base of their midfield. Look at Real Madrid. They've got Tchouaméni and Camavinga both in their squad. Look at Arsenal. They had Partey and Rice. And if he moves on, they're going to bring in somebody else. So most top clubs would have two good holding midfield players. Manchester City obviously has Rodri, and then the kid from Leeds that came in, Calvin Phillips, albeit he's been injured and hasn't really got much of a look in, but you probably need two. What do you make of the stand-up day from Liverpool? So, phased opening, Mark, right? I think that's what's to be expected. There was always talk of a phased opening of the Annie Road end. Frustrating for people who want to go to games and get tickets and all. Frustrating for the club, I'm sure, from a loss of revenue, but it needs to be done. It needs to have the safety inspections, and yeah. I don't know what this means. Sucked Toulouse yesterday. I don't care. I don't know what you want me to do with that, mate. If you sucked Toulouse yesterday, that's up to you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope Toulouse enjoyed it. But who you suck, that's up to you, mate. Not for me to comment on it. If you're saying I don't care, I mean, I didn't really care about losing too much to Toulouse yesterday because it doesn't really impact our season. Like I've said many times, we should still top that group, straightforward. Again, I don't know if you're trying to have a pop at me or what it's about, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to do with that. Arian said, Craig, I don't know if I'm being stupid, but Mbappe, whenever I see him, he looks really happy at PSG, which is crazy because he really wanted to leave. I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I'm sure he'll be offered an extension by PSG. I'm sure he'll be offered a load of money. But since he moved to PSG from Monaco, I wouldn't say PSG have done what he would have hoped. They've brought in players, they've spent a load of money, they've brought in, Messi, they've Neymar there, they've brought in Donnarumma, they had Ramos, they brought in a load of players, and they never managed to get over the line. Because for PSG, it's all about the Champions League. Because look, they should be winning the French League at a canter. So it's all about the Champions League, and for him, it'll be all about Ballon d'Ors. And he's looked around now, and he's probably seen, Cristiano and Messi are at the end of their careers now, and they won't really be in the mix anymore for Ballon d'Ors. So, you've got your Haalands, your Musialas, your Bellinghams, your Vinny Juniors maybe, and you're going to want to be in that mix if you're Kylian Mbappe. Like, if Kylian Mbappe finishes his career without a Ballon d'Or, I think a lot of people, myself included, will be scratching their heads going, how did he end up with none? Because he's too good not to have won a Ballon d'Or or a Champions League. So he has to go somewhere where he will be able to win those big honours. And we're one of those clubs. And people can say otherwise, but look at our history, look at our European pedigree. We're one of those clubs. Real Madrid are the club, but if we're to believe what Madrid fan accounts are saying, Madrid aren't in that conversation anymore. Thoughts on this new lead wonder kid that we're on about? So the person that you're speaking about is Archie Gray. So Matt Hughes has put out a post to say Liverpool are preparing a summer bid for Leeds midfielder Archie Gray in a move that could cost them over £40 million for a 17-year-old kid. And I'm okay with that as well. I'm okay with that. If we can get in the best young talent and you pay what sounds like a big amount of money now, but if he comes good, 40 million, if you look back on it in a few years, will seem a bargain. So, look, I trust the club's scouting. I trust the club's recruitment in that sense. They've brought in Bajcetic, look what he's doing. We've got other great young players coming through. The kid we signed from Leicester looks like a really good player. We've got Conor Bradley, of course, who's coming back from injury. So, look, leave the club at it. If Liverpool want to bring him in and Liverpool can get a deal done, then, let's see what the future brings. It does, on the face of it, like for a young kid like that, 40 million sounds like a huge amount of money. But the way football is these days, potential costs money. And with the homegrown quota and stuff, clubs are fighting for that best young talent. You've seen how hard Chelsea worked to make sure that they got Lavia in as well on top of Caicedo, because they want young players that can tie them down to long deals and keep them at the club for a long time. And if you get them young and you get them for what's a reasonable fee there, over time that fee, as I mentioned a moment ago, will look like a snip. What about Job Bellingham? I've not seen or read much on Job since his move to Sunderland. Don't really watch much of the Championship, in all honesty, so I don't really know much about Job Bellingham. That's the God's honest truth. I've never really followed his career. The last thing that I'd seen was an indication that Madrid might be trying to bring him in to hook him up with his brother. That's the only thing I've really seen. What about Hincapié and Inacio? Aren't they available in January? Well, Inacio was available in the summer. Inacio has always been available because he has a buyout clause. The problem for us now is, if we want Inacio, we'll have to pay 20 million more than we would have had to do in the summer, because we didn't go in for him in the summer. He signed a new deal with Sporting Lisbon, and that new deal meant his release clause jumped from 40 million euro to 60 million euro. So it would be the height of stupidity again if Liverpool did that, when they could have had him for 40 million quid. It blows the mind. As soon as he signed that contract, our interest in him should have ended, because we will look like goddamn fools if we buy a player 6 months later for 50% more expensive than he would have been. It just doesn't make sense. Hincapié, tough one now in January, especially because Leverkusen are having a really, really, really good season. Challenging Bayern for the Bundesliga. Obviously top of the Europa League group as well, so they're going to progress in that. And he's probably going to want to stay there and work with Xabi Alonso till the end of the season. And I can't blame him. He's in a really good place, in a really good team, playing a really good brand of football. And look, every player will have his price and eventually he will leave, but he'd probably want to stick about till the end of the season, in all honesty. And I don't think, I've always said this to you guys, I don't think we bring in a centre-back in January. I've never thought we're going to bring in a centre-back in January. Even listening to the brief from the likes of James Pearce, he said that in the summer, Liverpool will plan to refresh our defence a little bit. And that makes sense, because you've got some places freed up as well. If Thiago Alcantara leaves when his contract is up, and if Joel Matip leaves, and if Adrian leaves, there's 3 spots, and homegrown spots non-homegrown spots come available. Who was the guy from Boca we were looking at? Ezequiel Fernandez, mate. Ezequiel Fernandez. I couldn't give you a price because I truly don't know if he has a release clause in his Boca contract or not. But again, look at the Copa Libertadores final. The standout midfielder in that final was Andre. So I think that's where we should be looking. Just looking to see through my notes if I have other bits I've missed out on or anything. So I'm trying to say something here and frame it as respectfully as I can. Does anybody else feel like the left back situation is going to be the thing that screws us now? Because not only was Costas poor last night, he was poor, he was costly, and dare I say cowardly, because every single time in possession he cut inside. Every time. And when we think of Costas and we think of his best attributes, we're all aware he's not the best defensively, but we think of him as this marauding, attacking fullback who goes around the outside, whips in crosses. But I don't know if it was under instruction or if he was just feeling nervy in the atmosphere or whatever it was. But last night, he was, well, poor wasn't a good enough word. He was horrendously poor and cost us a goal because of his own indecision. And I nothing about that performance and nothing I've seen so far makes me think we're not going to suffer with no Andy Robertson. In my mind, Gomez should be playing left back or Chambers. I can't. I'd rather lose a lot going forward and have Gomez defensive stability than have him just having neither. Which is horrible to say because I've no interest in being negative about Costas Tsimikas. I don't want to be negative about him at all. But I can't lie to myself or lie to you guys and say that, you know, I'm not nervous about him. I definitely am. I feel like Kwanzaa would be our best left back. It's not a bad show. We see Newcastle have Dan Burn at left back, a big, tall, strong fella. Maybe Kwanzaa could be an option. Absolutely. Especially when in possession, when we shift to a back 3, you'd have Kwanzaa covering the left, Van Dijk through the centre, and Kanade covering the right. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Enough pace there, recovery pace as well to deal with it. Yeah, I wouldn't be against it. Apples Oranges said Chambers has to go in at left back. He's an option, definitely. Yeah, I just got no faith, unfortunately, in Costas at the minute, which I don't like saying. I don't. Guardiola is absolutely ruthless. He's let Zinchenko and Cancelo go. Yeah. He has. Is Andre still on to Liverpool? Truth is, Connor, we don't know, mate. There's conflicting reports coming out of everywhere. I can only tell you what I was told. And as I mentioned during the international break, I had loads of time for phone calls while I was on holiday. So I was on and I was chatting and I was messaging back and forth with a couple of journalists and a few other people. And I was getting the vibe that it was as close to a done deal as we can expect without being inside the deal. So everybody, and even if you look back at articles from around that time, there was a lot of if and when conversations, like if and when Liverpool go back in for Andre. So over the last week to see a couple of journalists come out and say that as far as they're aware, Liverpool won't be going in for not just Andre, but for any defensive midfielder, I refuse to believe that's the case, because I refuse to believe we're that stupid. It has to be a negotiating tactic. It has to be. Because everybody and their grandmother can see that we need a number 6. It shouldn't even be a debate. I was thinking it was almost like how we signed Maka. I thought it was a done deal already. I think we all do, mate. You know, because we know the figure. We know he's available. Like, a lot of the times you have to, you know, say, okay, we want the player, but is he going to be available? Are the club going to sell? They're willing to sell. Openly. So, yeah, well, let's just hope that the club are briefing the journalists, but they're briefing to, I don't know, it's to measure, temper expectations, or because they don't want eyes on them for the deal. But God almighty, I hope we get him in, because if not him, who else? And would we find anybody else for such a, let's be honest, a reasonable transfer fee? Luca said, Maka's been nowhere near good enough. Looks so weak, giving the ball away so much. You know, Luca, regrettably, I can't really argue. I can't. I want to sit here and defend Alexis McAllister, and I do believe he's a better player than he's showing. I also do believe the fact that he's playing in the number 6 position maybe has dented his confidence a little bit. But I can't argue with you, mate. You know, he hasn't been the level any of us and himself would have hoped for. I just hope, buddy, that I'm just hoping that it's because he's out of position. You know, if he was to get 3 or 4 games in a row in an advanced midfield position, will he be better? I hope so, because we've seen what he's capable of with Argentina and with Brighton. So we know there's a player there. But again, you know, can't push back against that one because he's not a 6 and we're not seeing his best attributes. Costas is an Italian league player. Oh, that's a good shout. Do you know what? That, again, dude, that's a good shout, B-Banjo. Yeah. Or even Spain. I think he could do it in La Liga as well. You know, he's a wing back, isn't he? Really, more than anything. Buffalo Soldier said Maka is not a number 6. Endo's been found out as well. Again, I can't push back on that comment. None of us have seen a performance from Endo that's made us go, yeah, he's legit. He was playing Toulouse last night. A bog average with respect to them, fighting the relegation zone in France. A bang average European side, and he couldn't wrestle control in his area of the pitch and had to be taken off because he was about to be sent off. So yeah, again, mate, unfortunately, which makes it all the more frustrating and annoying that we're seeing this nonsense about us being not in for a number 6. Like, it just doesn't add up, does it? The fact Klopp is willing to play McAllister out of position over Endo scares me. I understand it to some extent, because even if Endo was that guy, if Endo was going to be the one, it's not unusual for Klopp to take his time to put somebody into the squad. So I can't say it's wholly unexpected that McAllister's been playing in the 6 with Bajcetic, but I thought it was going to be a short-term solution until he felt Endo has gotten up to speed and settled in. But we've not seen any signs so far that Endo is settled in. So that makes it even more worrying, the whole situation. You know, no Bajcetic as well really hasn't helped. I think the problem with the Europa League is until the later rounds, there's so much chopping and changing. The lack of continuity in the team can lead to players getting exposed. That's a very fair comment, Dork Knight. Yeah, and look, ultimately, you just want to top the group. It doesn't really matter, you know, if we lose a game along the way in the groups. Like, it's not that important. But I guess everything comes into context when it's in a little run of a bit of a blip, a bit of a wobble. I guess it just heightens everybody's anxiety levels a little bit. But you are right. Like, that's why I said earlier on when your man said, about me moaning about not caring about the game. I don't. Like, I cared that we were robbed by VAR because I'm just frankly sick of shit referees. But in the grand scheme of things, losing to Toulouse is no big deal. If we beat Las Glints at home, we're on 12 points. And we may top the group with that, or we may have to go over to Belgium and pick up a point against Union Saint-Gilloise. Does Stefan have a setback from the previous injury, or is it a new one? There has been no briefing, mate. Like, nobody knows. Calf injury, that's all I can say. And when he's going to be back, the club aren't great in letting us know about these things. And by us, I mean the fan base. Like, why is Gakpo annoying us with inept display suddenly? Well, he's come back from an injury. He's not in a rhythm. That's all I can give you. We know Gakpo's better than his last couple of performances. Like, let's give the lad credit. We've seen the other side of Cody Gakpo, and I say this time and time again, and everybody disagrees with me. I like Gakpo through the centre and Diaz and Darwin on the left, because I think the cleverness of Gakpo dropping deep can free up space or can pull a defender out of position. But right now, my front three is Nunes through the middle, Salah on the right, and Diaz on the left. That's our best front three, in my opinion. No matter who we play, I think that's the best front three. How relieved must Diaz be feeling? Oh, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, mate. Let's give some positive vibes for a minute. Beautiful. I'm sure you guys probably seen the video of when his father returned home last night. Yeah, look, Luis Diaz deserves incredible love from all of us for his bravery, for his professionalism, and for his mindset being able to play those games. I couldn't do it. I tell you that, I couldn't do it. And fair play to Lucho. And I'm sure he is absolutely dying for this game at the weekend to be over so he can, meet up and get back and see his dad. Absolutely. It's beautiful. I'm so happy for his family. I'm so happy for Colombia. I'm so happy for us as Liverpool fans. Yeah, it was a lovely, lovely bit of news just ahead of the game last night. And that's what we should remember yesterday for. Above all else is the reuniting of Lucho's dad with his family safely. Excuse me. Soren, thank you for your super chat, my friend. Said, hi Craig, do you think that getting a CDM in January is enough, or do we need to get a centre back or left back? Love the show. Thank you, my friend, and much love back to you. I think in January, honestly, Soren, my opinion would be a 6 would be okay. Because if you look at our centre back situation right now, we've got 4 and we've got Jaro Kwanzaa. So we've got 5 centre backs, and we can talk about Gomez, whether people feel comfortable with him or not. But I think most of us feel very comfortable with either Van Dijk, Matip, Konate, or Jaro Kwanzaa. So if you add in Joe Gomez to that mix, that's 5 centre backs to fill 2 positions. I think the end of the season, when the club make a decision on Joel Matip, if he moves on, frees up a spot, a non-homegrown, an overseas spot that the club can look to fill. So I'm okay personally with no centre back in January. A full back, I can make an argument for full back. The problem I'd have with bringing in a full back is we've got Calvin Ramsey on loan at Preston. He's just come back to fitness and started to play. We've got Connor Bradley, who's coming back from injury, and I think should be back soon enough. But I don't believe in Costas long or short term. So honestly, I'd bring in a fullback in January if possible, one that can cover both sides, and I'd sell Costas in the summer. That's truly where I'm at, because when we signed Costas, we looked at him for 2 things. A backup to Andy Robertson and a potential successor to Andy Robertson, because he's a few years younger. And there's no signs that he's going to be that successor. So I don't know why keep him about. Yeah. So that's. I hope I've answered it for you, mate. Lucho versus Luton was his Titi Camara moment. It was it was lovely to see him get that goal and obviously highlight the message to bring his father home. I can't say this enough. Honestly, I am astounded at the man's mental strength and strength of character to have been able to even train and play, because everybody would have understood. The club would have understood. We as fans would have understood. Everybody would have understood if he just wanted to be at home with his family, even just that in Liverpool, and putting all his energies into trying to get his dad home. So if you didn't already love Lucho, I think now we all love him even more, because just he's awesome, and a real good lad to have around. Mbuemo worries me. Yeah. Look, Brentford worry me anyway, even at the best of times, because you don't really get an easy game against Brentford. Thomas Frank doesn't let his team not play hard. And I mean play hard, I don't mean that in a negative, shitty way. I mean, they show up every week. The work rate is there. And no Ivan Toney hasn't really been that bad for them because Mbuemo has stepped up. And yeah, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a hard game, no matter what. So, yeah, I'm nervous. I am. I did my preview earlier on, and, I spoke as honestly as I could about the game. And we need a win. And I don't care if it's not a great performance. We just need to go into the international break with 3 points, because no 3 points and then go to the Etihad and lose there, that can be bye-bye title challenge, for whatever hope of a title challenge we have. And it can drag us back into the race for 4th, 5th, 6th, and I don't want us to be there. So, yeah, we've got to win. Got to win. Not even a draw. We've got to win on Sunday. Do you think Tomori would be a good target for us? So, I've got to be honest, Adam, and say I haven't really ever followed much of Tomori, but over the last couple of months, I've read lots of really good reviews of his performances. So, could be an option, but I don't know of any concrete link. But, yeah, I'm always honest. I won't lie to you and say, oh yeah, I've watched this lad. Oh, he's fucking brilliant. I haven't watched much of him, but I've seen enough positive feedback and positive reviews from journalists and other fans who've watched them to say he must be doing something right, because his name's mentioned a lot. I think I saw you last week in Greystones. You were staring into a portion of wedges outside the petrol station. Yeah, 2 things about that. One, I don't eat wedges. Never have, never liked them. And I wasn't in Greystones last week, so it definitely wasn't me, my friend. There's something else I wanted. Salah has been a ghost lately. So, I said something a little bit similar recently, and I thought it was just me. So, we've seen the stats from Mo. We see the records. We've seen the goals, assists, and the goal contributions. But I said something the other day. I said, you can't argue with those numbers. They're factual. But he hasn't been passing the eye test for me, Mo, lately. He hasn't. So I'm glad I'm not on my own about that one, because you can't argue with the numbers. As I said, they are there. They're factual. But, you also have to use your eyes, and Mo hasn't passed the eye test lately. He hasn't looked sharp. He's looked fit. I'll say that. He's fit and he's running around, he's covered, he's tracking back and he's working hard. But he hasn't looked sharp. He hasn't. Gel Polini in January, who says no? Bayern say no, because that deal's already in place for him to go there. At least to the best of my knowledge, mate, that deal, once it fell through in summer, was still there to be done in January. That's why Fulham are already looking for replacements. But don't cry when your missus makes you shave it. Shave again, Luke. I don't know where we're at, mate. I'm getting half comments, bud. I've no idea what the fuck you're on about. Cry when she makes me shave my head. I like having no hair, dude. I feel grubby and dirty with hair. I've said this before. Trust me, if I was bald and wanted hair, like genuinely, if anybody that knows me, I'd say if I'm genuinely bald with no hair and I wanted hair, I'd be in Turkey getting a hair transplant. I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd be on here going, yeah, I'm going for a hair transplant. In all honesty, I tried to blag a free one. I tried to get a promo gig out of it, but I've no issues about going bald. I just amn't. I've more issues around not being able to grow a beard. Like, that's the one thing that's really haunted me my adult life is I've loved to grow a beard, but I can't. I just don't have enough facial hair to grow a beard. So, yeah, look, I'd go get a beard transplant if I had the money and it was on offer. I don't do embarrassment. Winger position is the most punishing for age. Pace is going down fast. Yeah, definitely. A lot of these guys break through and have that youthful exuberance, that burst of pace. And then at times when they get a little bit older, mate, they wedges give you a beard. You should eat them. You know what, mate? I love it. I like that. Well played, sir. That's how you troll, by the way. Even his name, he's trying to troll me, but I appreciate it. It's clever. It's fun. And I love a bit of good banter like that, mate. So, yeah, maybe I'll try it. What do I have to eat them or rub them on me face, like? But wedges, that must be what happened with me missus. Oh, fuck, I'm on the sofa. Oh, I'm on the sofa again. She does eat a lot of wedges. That's all I'm saying. What colour is your hair naturally? A dark brown, mate. Dark brown. Although probably dark brown and grey, to be honest with you. Do you know what, though? I love grey. I don't mind grey at all. Even in the beard or whatever. Like, a bit of distinguished grey. Nothing wrong with it. Eat more broccoli. Helps with your facial hair. I'd rather go and get a transplant, mate, than eat broccoli. But thank you, Chris. You're very kind. That was a brilliant. Eat more wedges. It makes you grow a beard. It sounded like a mother trying to convince her child to eat vegetables, mate. But yeah, well played. Do they still use pubian hair for transplants? I thought they used the graft from the back of your leg or under your armpit or something, mate. I've never looked into it, so I don't know. But I tell you what, if somebody came to me and said, Craig, I run a hair transplant business, I'll give you a beard transplant if you do ads for us. Beard me up, Scotty. Beard me up. I'd love a full George Michael. I can't lie to you. Shaved head and beard stubble, I'd be all over it. You should eat some tubby custard. Oh yeah. I do love me a bit of custard. Right, I'm going to call that one a night, my friends. It's been a good stream. I've had loads of fun. We've nearly an hour and a half on tonight. I bet Craig is ginger. I'm not, but my son is and my wife is. I'm very much brown. I've shown you pictures of me with hair before. Look, I'll show you once more before we finish up. A picture of me with hair, just so you can see what I used to look like when I had hair. 1 second. Where is it gone? There you go. There you go. There's me in my 20s with hair. And as you can see, it is very much brown and not ginger. So there you go. There was a time where I had a bit of hair on the old top of the head. But even then it was short. Right, my friends. I will talk to you wonderful people in tomorrow, 8:30, same time, same place. And yeah, don't forget to go over and check out today's stream on Top of the League. It was a really good one. Myself and Adam, our first time together on screen. We'll be together as well for a watch along of the Chelsea-Manchester City game on Sunday, straight after our game. So yeah, much love. Have a great weekend. Thank you for joining me tonight. I had loads of fun. Brilliant. Thank you, guys.